Hi, I'm Haven. For the past 2 years, kidney dialysis has been my lifeline, literally. 3 times a week, I'd hook up to the machine that did what my failing kidneys couldn't. Dad made sure we had the best home setup after my diagnosis at 23. Haven, need anything before I head out? Dad poked his head into my room, eyes crinkling with his reassuring smile. I'm good. Meeting with Dr. Patel later, but Melissa's driving me. That's my girl. Diane's making dinner tonight, so I'll be home by 7. Diane, my stepmother of 8 months. The woman who smiled to Dad's face and turned to ice the moment he left. After Dad left, I heard Diane's footsteps approaching. She knocked twice, her signature passive-aggressive tap, and entered without waiting. Haven, we need to talk about these medical expenses. She waved papers at me. Your father doesn't see it, but these treatments are draining our accounts. The insurance covers most of it, and Dad set up a medical fund years ago. Insurance doesn't cover everything, and that fund was meant for emergencies, not endless treatments. Her voice had that saccharine quality that made my skin crawl. I'm on the transplant list. This isn't forever. Do you know what the odds are of getting a kidney? Your father is working himself to death to keep you comfortable. This isn't about comfort, Diane. It's about staying alive. Haven, you're 25. Most people your age are building careers, not draining their parents' retirement. I work remotely when I can. Barely. And what happens when your father can't work anymore? Who takes care of you then? Her eyes narrowed. Me. And I didn't sign up for that. Later, Melissa picked me up for my appointment. She knew everything about my health struggles and my Diane problems. You look exhausted, she said while driving. Dialysis rough last night? I skipped it. Diane was hovering. Melissa's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Haven, you can't skip sessions because your stepmonster makes you uncomfortable. What does your dad say about how she treats you? He doesn't know. She's completely different when he's around, all concerned and supportive. Your life isn't a problem, Haven. She cornered me this morning about how expensive my treatments are. Your dad makes 6 figures and has platinum insurance. That's just her being awful. When we returned from my appointment, the house was quiet. I headed to my bedroom to start my dialysis session. The machine was there, but something was wrong. Melissa, I called, my voice shaking. Something's not right with my machine. Melissa rushed in, and we stared at the disconnected tubes, the dark screen. Is it unplugged? She asked, checking behind the unit. No, it's... I pressed the power button repeatedly. Nothing happened. It's been tampered with. My phone buzzed with a text from Diane. Your father needs to face reality. So do you. There's no money for a new machine. I showed Melissa the message just as we discovered the cut power cord. She did this, Melissa whispered, horrified. She actually sabotaged your dialysis machine. My vision blurred, not from kidney failure, but from pure cold rage. We need to call your dad right now, Melissa said, already pulling out her phone. Wait. I grabbed her wrist. We need proof first. Dad won't believe Diane would do this. Haven, this is attempted murder. We're calling the police. And tell them what? That my stepmother, who has no criminal record and is a respected real estate agent, tried to kill me by cutting a power cord? We need more than this. Melissa paced my bedroom. Fine. Let's start gathering evidence. Do you still have that nanny cam I gave you for Christmas? I nodded. It's in my drawer. I never set it up. Well, we're setting it up now, and I'm staying here tonight. We placed the tiny camera on my bookshelf, angled to capture most of the room, including the dialysis machine. Then Melissa helped me pack an overnight bag. We're going to the hospital for emergency dialysis, and then you're staying at my place tonight, she insisted. I'm not leaving you here with her. As we were leaving, we ran into Diane in the hallway. Where are you two going? She asked, looking between us suspiciously. To the hospital, I replied, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Since my dialysis machine mysteriously stopped working, I need emergency treatment. Diane's face remained impassive. That's unfortunate. Those machines are so expensive to repair. Funny, It's not just broken. The power cord was cut. I watched her closely. Maybe you should be more careful with your equipment then. She turned to walk away. My equipment that keeps me alive, you mean? I called after her. Diane paused. Life is precious, Haven. So is money. Your father will have to make some difficult decisions soon. At the hospital, Dr. Patel was concerned about my missed treatment. Haven, skipping dialysis is extremely dangerous. Your levels are already showing signs of toxin buildup. I didn't skip intentionally. Someone sabotaged my machine. His eyebrows shot up. Sabotaged? Who would do such a thing? My stepmother. She cut the power cord and texted me about it. Dr. Patel's expression hardened. Do you still have this text message? I showed him my phone. He read the message, then looked up at me. Haven, this is a very serious allegation. Medical neglect of this nature is criminal. I need to document this. While I underwent dialysis, Melissa called her cousin Trent, who worked as a paralegal. Trent says we need to get statements from everyone, Melissa told me when she returned. The doctor, the nurses who saw your condition, and we need all the text messages from Diane. Will that be enough? I asked. He also suggested talking to your father's brother, Craig. Doesn't he handle your dad's finances? I nodded. Uncle Craig is Dad's financial advisor and brother. He knows everything about Dad's accounts. The next day, we met with Uncle Craig at his office. Haven, this is incredibly disturbing, he said after we explained everything. Your father has more than enough money for your treatments. In fact, he set up a special trust just for your medical expenses. Can you prove that? Melissa asked. Uncle Craig nodded, pulling out a folder. These are the trust documents. Your father funded it with over $2 million specifically for your care. Diane has no access to this money, though she's asked about it several times. She asked about my medical trust? My stomach turned. She claimed she wanted to understand the family finances. I told her this money was untouchable. It's only for your medical care. Can you put that in writing for us? Melissa asked. I'll do better than that, Uncle Craig said, his expression grim. I'll testify if needed. Nobody threatens my niece's life over money that isn't even theirs to begin with. When we left Uncle Craig's office, I called my friend Alex, who worked as a nurse in my nephrologist's office. Alex, I need a favor, I said when he answered. I need you to tell me honestly, what happens if someone misses multiple dialysis treatments? Haven, are you missing treatments? His voice was instantly concerned. Not by choice. My stepmother sabotaged my machine. That's incredibly dangerous, Haven. Missing treatments can lead to heart failure, fluid overload, dangerously high potassium levels. Could it kill me? Alex paused. Yes, Haven. It absolutely could. Is this really happening? Would you be willing to explain that to the police or in court if necessary? In a heartbeat. Do you need me to come over? Not yet, but soon. I'm building a case. I hung up just as another text from Diane arrived. Your father's working late. Again. Killing himself to pay for your treatments. Think about that while you drain our future away. Melissa looked at the message over my shoulder. We've got her now. 3 days later, I was back home. Dad had arranged emergency repairs for my machine, unaware of who had damaged it. Diane had played the concerned stepmother perfectly when he was around. The nanny cam had captured Diane entering my room twice, examining the machine and going through my medical paperwork. We need to confront her, I told Melissa, with Dad present. I asked Uncle Craig to be there too. By 6 o'clock, everyone had arrived except Dad. Diane was in the kitchen, visibly annoyed by the visitors. What's this about? She asked, eyeing Uncle Craig suspiciously. We're waiting for Dad. Family meeting. About what exactly? About you cutting my dialysis power cord and texting me that there's no money for a new machine. The color drained from her face. That's absurd. Why would I do something so dangerous? That's what we're going to discuss, Uncle Craig said coldly. Dad arrived minutes later, confused to find everyone gathered. What's going on? Dad, sit down. I took a deep breath. I need to show you something. I played the video from the nanny cam, then showed him Diane's text messages. "This doesn't make sense," Dad said, looking between us. "Diane wouldn't. She cut the power cord on my dialysis machine. Dr. Patel confirmed missing treatments could kill me, and she did it because she thinks I'm wasting your money." "That's ridiculous." Diane stood. "Robert, she's making this up. The power cord was cut, and you texted me about it." "I never cut anything. Maybe the cord was frayed." Uncle Craig stepped forward. "Robert, I've brought the documents for Haven's medical trust. The one I specifically told Diane about. The one with over $2 million that can only be used for Haven's care." Dad looked at the papers, then at Diane. "You knew about this trust?" Well, yes. Craig mentioned it, but then why would you tell Haven we can't afford her treatments?" "I never said that. I just think we need to be realistic about the future." "And what?" Dad stood, facing Diane. "And what? She should just stop treatment? Die?" "Of course not. But there are less expensive options. State facilities," Alex interrupted. "Miss Walker, Haven needs specialized care. Less expensive options could mean insufficient dialysis, leading to death." "You're all twisting my words." Diane's voice rose. "Haven has always resented me." I pulled out my phone. "Should we call Detective Rivera then? He's very interested in these texts and the cut power cord his team is examining." "You called the police?" Diane looked shocked. "Medical neglect is a crime," Melissa said, "especially when it could lead to death." Dad looked at me, then at the texts again. "Haven has never lied to me. Not once. But you've been secretive about finances, asking about life insurance." "Because I care about our future." "Haven is my future," Dad said firmly. Diane's face contorted with rage. "She's not even your biological daughter. You adopted her when she was 10. Why should your real family suffer for her medical problems?" The room went silent. "Real family?" Dad's voice was barely audible. "Haven is my real family. She has been since the moment her mother and I married. The fact that you don't understand that tells me everything. Robert, please." Diane reached for him. "Don't touch me. I want you out of this house. Tonight. You can't be serious. Where am I supposed to go?" "Anywhere but here. And expect to hear from my lawyer, and possibly the police." Diane looked around desperately. "Haven, I never meant to hurt you. I was just trying to protect our family's resources. I'm sorry." I looked her directly in the eyes. "You cut the machine that keeps me alive and told me I wasn't worth saving." "It was a mistake. I was stressed. We can work this out." "No, we can't." Diane lunged toward me suddenly. "You ungrateful little—" Dad and Alex intercepted her. "That's assault," Uncle Craig said calmly, recording on his phone. "Get out," Dad repeated, "before I call the police myself." 2 weeks later, I sat in the district attorney's office with Dad and our lawyer, Miss Hernandez. "The evidence is compelling," DA Williams told us. "The forensic analysis of the power cord shows it was deliberately cut with household scissors, the same scissors found in Miss Walker's desk drawer with microscopic traces of the cord's unique insulation material." "And the text messages?" Dad asked. "Combined with the testimonies from Dr. Patel, Mr. Newman, and your brother, they establish clear intent. Miss Walker knew the dialysis was life-sustaining and deliberately sabotaged it while informing Haven that no money would be available for repairs." "What charges is she facing?" I asked. "Attempted murder in the second degree, reckless endangerment, and criminal medical neglect. Given the premeditation evident in her actions, we're confident in our case." Miss Hernandez nodded. "And the restraining order?" "Already processed. Miss Walker cannot come within 500 feet of Haven or your home." Outside the DA's office, Dad pulled me into a hug. "I'm so sorry, Haven. I should have seen what she was really like." "You couldn't have known, Dad." "I should have. The signs were there." He shook his head. "I just didn't want to see them." That evening, Melissa, Alex, and Uncle Craig came over for dinner. It felt like family. Real family. "Have you heard from her?" Melissa asked as we cleared the table. "Her lawyer called mine," Dad answered. She wants to apologize in person, thinks it will help her case. And? Uncle Craig prompted. I told them absolutely not. Haven doesn't need to hear her excuses. Actually, I said, setting down a stack of plates, I do want to hear what she has to say. Everyone looked at me in surprise. Haven, you don't owe her anything, Alex said gently. It's not about owing her. It's about closure. For me. The meeting was arranged at Miss Hernandez's office 3 days later. Diane arrived with her lawyer, looking thinner and less polished than I remembered. Haven, she began, her voice trembling slightly. Thank you for agreeing to see me. I said nothing, just waited. I want to apologize for my actions. I was under enormous stress and I made a terrible mistake. I never intended to harm you. You cut the power cord of a life-sustaining medical device, I replied evenly. What exactly did you intend? I wasn't thinking clearly. I thought your father was spending too much on your treatments, money we needed for our future together. Money from a trust you knew existed specifically for my care. She looked down. I wasn't thinking rationally. No, you were thinking perfectly rationally. You decided my life was worth less than your comfort. That's not true. You just what? Thought I should die so you could have access to Dad's money? Her lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Miss Walker acknowledges her actions were wrong and is prepared to make amends. There are no amends for trying to kill someone, I interrupted. I agreed to this meeting to tell you one thing, Diane. I will be at every court hearing. I will testify to everything you did and said. And when you're sentenced, I'll be there to watch. Haven, please. I'm facing years in prison. If you could just tell the DA that you believe it was a momentary lapse in judgment. It wasn't momentary. You calculated exactly what you were doing. You knew what would happen if I couldn't get dialysis. I've lost everything. Robert, my home, my reputation. Isn't that punishment enough? I leaned forward. You tried to trade my life for money. So no, losing your comfortable lifestyle isn't enough punishment, not even close. 6 months later, I sat in the courtroom as the judge sentenced Diane to 12 years for attempted second-degree murder, with additional charges for endangerment and neglect. As the bailiff led her away, she looked back at me one last time. I met her gaze steadily, feeling not joy or satisfaction, but a quiet sense of justice. Later that night, Dad, Melissa, Alex, and Uncle Craig celebrated with me on our patio. To Haven, Dad raised his glass. The strongest person I know. And to justice, Melissa added. Alex squeezed my hand under the table. Over the past months, our friendship had deepened into something more. I have news, I said after the toast. Dr. Patel called today. They found a kidney match. The table erupted in cheers and more toasts. As everyone celebrated around me, I thought about the long journey ahead. Surgery, recovery, a life less defined by illness. But most importantly, a life free from the shadow of someone who saw my existence as nothing more than an expense. What are you thinking about? Alex asked quietly. About price tags, I replied. And how some people don't understand that a life never has one. Have you ever had someone try to determine your worth? What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of justice served.